The animal world never ceases to amaze, and after watching this video to the end, you'll be convinced of it once again. Cute behavior of a gorilla, a chick versus a leopard, superpowers of squirrels, and much more. In this episode, you'll see the craziest, most interesting, unusual, and cool animal moments caught on camera. Let's go! Let's start with a photo sent to me by a subscriber. We see a formidable gorilla, which is angry at the bird and brutally deals with it. Do you think this is possible? I think it is, because gorillas are very strong, and if you make them angry, they'll show their power in all its glory. But there are also amazing opposite moments featuring them, such as this one. The primate noticed an injured bird in an enclosure, and instead of crushing it, decided to carefully examine it. The gorilla gently touches the feathered creature and brings it to its senses. Once the gorilla doctor was satisfied that the bird was fine, it left it to rest for a while. Lions attack many animals in Africa, including giraffes, but they don't mess with these giants as often. But when a giraffe is lying and resting, how not to attack it? That's what this lioness thought as it decided to attack the defenseless creature. But the giraffe doesn't care at all. It just doesn't see an enemy in it. The giraffe is too tough for it. The lioness is gnawing and clawing at it, but it doesn't care. And then the giraffe goes up to another lioness, showing that it's not even afraid of being outnumbered. Africa in general has a lot of crazy and amazing situations. Here's another one of them. We see a tiny chick that's chosen not the best place for a walk. Right next to it is a dangerous leopard. The spotted big cat doesn't lose the chance and starts hunting. The chick realizes it too late and gets caught. The leopard effortlessly catches up with it and grabs it with its teeth. It seems that even this is enough to crush the bird. In addition, further on, the big cat bites the chick several times and carries it in its teeth. But the leopard turned out to be a loser. Despite its small age, the chick endured and skillfully pretended to be dead. And when the right moment came, it quickly ran away from the predator. You don't see this every day. Cats in general often discredit themselves as good hunters. In front of us is a distant relative of that leopard, and it doesn't realize that the prey is hiding right on top of it. The cat only realizes that there's something on its back, but doesn't understand what it is. However, the rodent was not able to fool the cat properly. When the predator discovered the deception, it quickly finished what it started. Although, who knows, maybe the mouse got out as skillfully as that bird did. Imagine you have a country house with a small pond. You come home after a walk, go to the backyard and see this. I don't think anyone would want to be in that situation. Fortunately, we only see it thanks to the security camera, so no one was hurt. On the contrary, everyone was happy. The bear cubs swam in the pond and refreshed themselves. The mama bear was calm that no one touched them and also took a swim. And the owners of the house got unusual and unforgettable footage. And by the way, it turns out that this was not the only such time. Look, the female bear is a regular in this cozy place. However, this time it came to rest without its cubs. Where do you think they are? Share your versions in the comments. Since we're talking about all sorts of ponds, why not continue the water subject? For the next moment, we have to dive into the ocean because that's where this incredible footage was taken. Look at the huge stingray swimming with the tourists. Personally, I've never seen stingrays behave like this and swim so close to people. In addition, there's a whole gang of these wide fish a little deeper. But neither we nor the tourists should worry because these are manta rays. Although these stingrays are the largest in the world, they're completely harmless and safe for people. And here's another giant, the well-known whale. These big creatures often come to the surface to take a breath of air and greet tourists, fishermen, and sailors. But this whale decided to stay on the surface longer. In gratitude for this time, the whale was rewarded with kisses and stroked. In return, the whale kindly splashed its new friends. In general, the clip is great. This video starts very ordinary. We just see a squirrel on the balcony. But if you look a little closer, it becomes clear that it somehow climbed to a very high floor. And now the squirrel doesn't know what to do. It's afraid to go to people, but it doesn't want to climb down the balconies from a huge height either. And then the squirrel decides to go right down the wall. It's not Spider-Man, so the squirrel falls down and flies down. But look, in flight it spreads out like a parachute, lands softly, and just runs away like nothing happened. Now that's what I call some cool skills. Even cats don't land as spectacularly from a great height. Now you know what squirrels can do. And it wasn't even a flying squirrel. Just look at this cool video. That's Marlin from Finding Nemo near his home. And nearby is the diver who snatched his son and took him back to the boat. And nearby it looks like Dory's swimming. There's even Nemo here. Look, there's a smaller clownfish. This is the very case when the animated movie became a reality. I hope there aren't those 3 sharks swimming around. Yes, in the movie they were vegetarians, but in reality, this is unreal. If someone rings your doorbell, always look through the peephole before opening the door. And it's better to get a doorbell camera because guests are different. For example, in this case, a snake decided to drop in for a cup of tea to the author of the video. Interestingly, the author wrote that at that very moment, he was waiting for a delivery man with a package, which means he could open the door right away. This is clearly not the package you expect. But here's a bigger snake. And right now it's busy hunting a big frog. But the frog won't go in. The snake's trying very hard, trying to open its mouth as wide as possible, but it hardly succeeds. And the frog doesn't seem to care what happens. It only tries to break free towards the end of the video. Maybe it's severely depressed and doesn't want to live. After all, how else to explain such strange behavior? This video is unique for several reasons at once. First, here we see a dog and a lion which live in the same enclosure. Second, the lion is not ordinary but white. And thirdly, the lion is not aggressive and does not attack. On the contrary, it approaches the dog, takes its paw and kisses it as if asking for forgiveness. But this apparently is not enough. The dog didn't accept the apology, turned around and left, and the lion ran to apologize further. I wonder what it did to the dog. Underwater divers often encounter dolphins, whales, sharks, small fish. But manatees are something new. I mean, not every diver dares to swim near them. Take a look at what they can do. These mammals sometimes put on a show of splashes right out in the water, and they do it very suddenly. It's kinda creepy, but manatees aren't actually dangerous to humans. They're even called sea cows because they're also fat, large, and kind. A lot of people like them. But in the sea, you can also meet the animals which few people love. For example, seagulls. These creatures are constantly trying to steal something, and it even bothers people, let alone marine animals. But they operate not only in the sea. Look at how these seagulls are trying to steal food. It seems that they're the main fans of McDonald's. Just check out how eagerly they're trying to steal fries. Maybe one of the other seagulls will tell them that it's impossible to do this through glass. Once again, let's get back to everyone's favorite animal. This is a whale shark. Usually, divers film these huge creatures swimming leisurely alone, but this time they filmed the shark with a crowd of fans. Several dozen fish surround the shark and follow it around. Personally, I can't explain this fish behavior. Maybe you can do it. Share your thoughts in the comments. It's not known what exactly happened before the video started, but in this footage we see people transporting the sleeping lion. The team of specialists gave it the exact dosage of sedative to calmly transport the predator to another location, but it seems they miscalculated something. The lion woke up earlier than it should have and scared people. Of course, nothing dangerous happened. The king of the jungle is still in a half-dormant state and can't do any harm. But next time, these guys will calculate the dose of tranquilizers more accurately. Horses are obedient animals, of course, but this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. This little one simply walked up to the coral, tapped on the fence, and a small herd immediately rushed in the baby's direction. The child literally summoned the horses as if he were their lord. The horses greeted him and cheered him up for the day, and he cheered them up too. I'm sure this is one of the strangest videos you will ever see. We see the seabed, a crab, and an upside-down jellyfish that it's carrying on its back. If you're not interested in underwater fauna, you've probably seen this for the first time. In fact, this is a carrier crab, and it doesn't drag the jellyfish to eat it. It serves as its defense against predators. Usually, these arthropods choose sea urchins as a shield, but apparently that day there were no sea urchins around and the crab had to improvise. A crab invasion, a sheep circle, an underwater tornado. Keep watching and I'll show you some very unusual behavior of perfectly ordinary animals. Red crab migration. One of the main sites in the red crab migration is the island Christmas Island, located in Australia. The fact is that more than 100 million crabs travel through it every year. They travel for the purpose of spawning. It's not the distance the creatures travel and not even their commitment to the process that impresses. It's the scale of what's happening that's impressive. This migration usually takes place from October to January during the crab's mating season. As soon as the moisture rises and October arrives, a mass of environmentalists and photographers come to the island and see this. Under the torrential rains, the long journey of red crabs begins. Their destination is the coast of the Indian Ocean. During the procession, the crabs cover everything. Dwellings, rocks, roads, everything becomes blood red. But don't rush to think that this is useless activity, which attracts attention only because of its own stupidity. In fact, the red crustaceans perform a sanitary function during their migration. It's thanks to them that the island is kept clean, and this cleanliness can rightly be called ideal. The crabs eat everything that could simply rot without them. These are fallen fruits, fallen leaves, snails, remains of birds and flowers which time has passed. Underwater tornado. And this is an unusually beautiful and mysterious fish tornado filmed by divers. It was first talked about back in 2008 when a huge school of sardines appeared near a Philippine island. Everyone knew that these fish gather in such schools only during the spawning season, but near the Philippines, such a thing had never been observed before. In addition, clusters of fish may be associated with a particular season, after which the fish disperse to do their business. But this phenomenon off Pescador Island continues to increase in its scale. Of course, this couldn't help but generate tremendous interest from divers and science enthusiasts. People came to this island and were shocked that it turned out to be real. It seems that thousands and even tens of thousands of fish are controlled by some invisible director, and all this is part of some kind of performance. The creatures feel each other on a subconscious level, and without disturbing anyone around them, move synchronously. In the past, some people were even afraid to swim near this incredible phenomenon. You never know what would happen. The fish were also afraid of people, so they swam away as soon as they saw a boat nearby. Today, the situation has changed dramatically. Doesn't matter to the sardines if there's a boat or a ship in front of them. Fish won't go anywhere. They'll continue their synchronized performance. And if a person wants unusual sensations, then let them overcome fear and dive right into the epicenter of this tornado. The only more or less adequate explanation for this behavior of the fish is the so-called El Niño phenomenon. This is a large-scale warm current which occurs in the Pacific Ocean. Warm water, pouring plankton, displaces the cold currents, the same ones the sardines need. Because of this, the fish adjust to the situation and change their habitat to one where there's cooler water. Cold currents change directions, and the fish do it along with them. Ritual behavior of monkeys. Apparently, Darwin's theory of evolution is becoming more and more plausible. The fact is that a few years ago, people filmed apes performing a strange ritual. A chimpanzee approaches a thick tree, grabs a stone from the ground, and hurls it violently into the trunk, either into its crevice or between its roots. The monkey accompanies its throw with a long, loud scream and other signs of extreme excitement. It stands on its hind limbs, waving its forelimbs, and its hair stands on end. Then the animal calms down and moves on. Its behavior is repeated by other individuals, and over time a pile of stones accumulates inside the trunk of a tree or at its roots. This phenomenon was first noticed in 2011. Then, during 17 months of observation, more than 60 cases of such behavior were recorded. People immediately suggested that since males threw the stones more often, they probably showed their own strength, and everyone else tried to be like them and simply repeated after them. In any case, there's no exact answer to this yet. It's likely that this could be connected with something defensive at all. Allegedly, monkeys hit stones against a tree and screamed, imitating a fight and their superiority, thereby scaring off potential offenders. On the other hand, the sound of of hitting a stone is not so loud, which makes it unlikely. The appearance of this ritual may also be largely accidental. One male, while demonstrating its strength, may have grabbed a stone and thrown it into a tree to enhance the effect. It's assumed that the sight of a pile of stones provokes in monkeys the desire to repeat the behavior of a conjurer. If you have your own variation on the origin of this strange ritual, please be sure to share them in the comment section down below. Magic of cats. I think it's no secret that cats have long been considered special creatures, those that are revered and respected by people of all ranks. Ancient, intelligent people could hardly be mistaken about it and blindly believed some nonsense. If you still doubt it, just look at one of the main abilities of cats, a premonition of trouble. Most likely it's not connected with mysticism, though it would be wrong to speak about it with confidence. Cats have superbly keen hearing, an incredible sense of smell, and they see and feel what the human ear, nose, and eyes simply are not able to. Their antennae alone, or as they're also called, whiskers or vibrossi, are worth a lot. Using them, cats can detect the slightest fluctuations in the air, smell someone else's scent. Using its whiskers, a cat in the darkness is like an airplane flying by the instruments. Even in an unfamiliar room, it'll never crash into a wall or furniture. It's likely that this set of features is more than enough to make a cat amazing. With all this, animals can sense the approach of a stranger or the anxiety of their owner. Everything seems to make sense here. A cat senses a change in heartbeat, change in scent, and so on. But how do you explain cats' predictions about earthquakes and other disasters? Do they feel tremors from under the earth? This can't be true. No matter how hard scientists try, they still have not explained this magic of cats. There are theories and conjectures, but no one gives any specifics. Although maybe a lot of animals can really sense the coming cataclysms. Huh? Should we be watching them more often? I just found some interesting information about the recent earthquake in Turkey, and I felt somehow uncomfortable. The fact is that shortly before this event, people filmed some very strange behavior of birds and cats. Again, magically, the creatures began to behave rather alarmingly. Here, finally, biologists entered the chat and tried to explain this phenomenon. It's up to you to decide to believe it or not. According to them, all animals pick up seismic waves much earlier than humans. This list is not limited to birds and cats. All wild creatures sense some kind of vibration before an earthquake occurs. Humans, on the other hand, have lost this feature due to the fact that they're no longer children of nature, but animals are still children of nature. All in all, it sounds pretty logical, but then another question arises. Why don't people just keep a constant watch over the animals? If they suddenly start behaving strangely, it would at least be possible to warn the others, and the number of accidents would be reduced many times over. Still, it seems to me that the scientists themselves don't fully believe in their own theory. The sheep round dance. For something mystical and invisible to the human eye, I suggest we move on to the strange behavior of sheep. Not too long ago, a farmer in China filmed some rather strange behavior in her own cattle. As the woman claims, her sheep moved like this continuously for 12 days. It all started with a few of the cloven-hoofed animals, but then they were joined by new ones, and then by another new friends. People in the comments split into several camps. Some are sure it's some kind of ant-like death spiral. Others are suggesting that the animals are suffering from cuneirosis, also known as turn sick, which is triggered by soil bacteria. They can infect only one half of an animal's brain, causing it to tilt and turn toward the affected part. A third version is more simple, but no less interesting. Allegedly, after being in a pen for a long time, sheep can get depressed and so sad that they just start walking in circles. Butterfly migration. Remember at the beginning of this episode I showed you the red crab migration? Well, if you thought it was the most beautiful thing in the world, then you've probably never seen the monarch butterfly migration before. Thousands of bright orange butterflies can cover an impressive distance, flying from Canada to Mexico and back. Perhaps one of the most interesting facts about the migration of butterflies is that 3 or 4 generations of the insects change during the flight. Although different generations of butterflies constantly fly, they mysteriously always choose the same trees for stops. Scientists don't know how this happens and what explains this active outlook on life. That's all, guys. Which animal's behavior seemed the strangest to you? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.